Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. This is part 2 of our full Euro 2024 tournament preview. If you missed part 1, which was released on Wednesday, you can find that in The Rest is Football podcast feed. It will be the episode just before this one. Haha, simple. In that episode, we discussed England's group and where their biggest dangers lie, as well as how we think Scotland will fare in Group A with the host Germany. For now, though, we're going to jump straight back in with Group D and World Cup finalists France. This has been called the Group of Death. France have got Austria, Netherlands and Poland. I think it's one of the toughest groups. There's no question about that. France, they're going to this tournament. I think England are favourites with the bookmakers, but, that's probably because we are in England and people want to back the home country. The real favourites probably should be France.
With a number of players that they have, the quality that they have in forward positions, particularly Mbappe, then they're a brilliant team with a great experienced manager. Them are England for me, so yeah.
Yeah, I would go France as my favourites, and not because I believe they have better individual players. I feel like they will sacrifice players to get the best for the team. So when we mention all these great players, Tchouaméni and Camavinga and Fofana and Griezmann and Kante and whoever it may be, they just play what's best for the team. How can we get the best out of Kylian Mbappe? Do we need to play Koulibaly on the right-hand side to stop a counter-attack coming from the left, or whoever it may be? Where can we get Griezmann? We won't play Griezmann up front. We'll actually play him a little bit deeper. It's just, I think they can adapt to what the game needs the best, and they've got pace. So, yeah, France are my favourites.
And they've been there, seen it, done
exactly.
it, haven't they? Been in a few finals in recent years, which always helped. Funnily enough, Netherlands were in their group with them as well, but France comfortably qualified, and it moves us on to Netherlands, whose world ranking is 7. They qualified obviously as runners up to France in that group. Ronald Koeman, back in charge. He was there, 2018 for a couple of years. Then went to Barca, of course, and then rejoined Netherlands as manager in 2023. Have they got enough? They've got a lot of good players, that's for sure.
Did I read that De Jong's out of the tournament, didn't I?
Yes, that's a huge blow
injury,
for them.
So, yeah, he'll be a miss for them.
I think they've got good players. I was looking at their stats and everything yesterday. Xavi Simons, who we know a lot about,
Leipzig.
is Leipzig. Gakpo sort of found his feet a little bit at Liverpool towards the end. Daniel Malen as well at Dortmund, in terms of counter-attacking, having him as a sub, be absolutely brilliant. And then I just go back. They got De Ligt at the back with Van Dijk and that, Frimpong.
Van der Ven in the... He'll be around
Van
as
der
well,
Ven.
possibly. I mean, if we could do with a couple of their centre-backs.
We really could. And Frimpong as well, who was at Leverkusen, who had a terrific season. I don't fear them as much as I do France, if I'm being totally honest, but they have got some very good individual players along with Memphis Depay as well.
Yeah. I think the Dutch might go close.
Do you?
I think they'll go deep into the tournament. Yeah. I'm usually wrong, but I just think they've got kind of 2/3 of a really good. It's like every 2 minutes. Like when you look at England, you go, "Oh, we're a bit worried about the back," but there's always some part of the team that you go, "Oh, there's a slight weakness there." In all teams, in international football, and it's very rare that you have a team like Spain, for example, 15, 16 years ago, that were kind of absolutely like super strong right throughout the side. But I think, as they showed in the World Cup, they got very close against Argentina, although they were probably outplayed and then just got a bit, just somehow got back to 2-2, didn't they? So we'll see. We'll see with Netherlands, but I've got a feeling they'll go quite far into the tournament. Poland in there as well. We saw them play, didn't we, in the World Cup? We were at that game against Argentina where they didn't really have a kick. But they playoff winner in Group A with 3 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses. They beat Wales. They were the last team to qualify, weren't they? Beat Wales on penalties. I was gutted for the Welsh to get that close and then lose on a penalty shootout.
I think this is a tough group for them with Holland and with France. Yeah. I think it's a big ask for them to get out of the group. I know they've got Lewandowski, who over the years has been an unbelievable striker. Tough to get out.
Who limped off the other day, by the way.
Right.
In the I can't remember who the game was. I was watching the highlights. He limped off, which wasn't a good sign.
Talk about one player you can't afford to lose.
Exactly that.
I mean, that would be a massive blow.
Yeah. They got Bednarek and Kivio as well, haven't they, defensively? But I think it's a big ask for them.
Yeah, I agree. Big ask.
I wouldn't disagree. Austria. World ranking quite high, 25 at the moment. Just finished behind Belgium in qualifying. Do you know who's in charge there, the manager?
No, go on.
Ralph Rangnick.
Rangnick!
Yeah, he's been there. He's been there since 2022 now. That's sneaked under the radar a little bit for some.
Wow,
but, yeah. The massive loss for them that Alaba is out the tournament, obviously, that serious injury that he got, because he's obviously their best player. But they've still got, Sabitzer and Baumgartner.
Too big a ask, I think. No lack of effort, but with those others in the group in Holland and France.
Sabitzer's a strange player, because he was at Leipzig. He was at Salzburg, and he was at Leipzig, and then he gets a move to Bayern. It didn't quite work out for him. He goes on loan to Man United, then he goes back to Dortmund, and he was unreal this season. It's just mad how different players find the way at different clubs and different structures, different positions. But he was outstanding this season. He really was.
So who do we think are going to be the top 2 in that group?
France, Netherlands for me.
Yeah, I think we'll all go with those 2. They're the obvious 2. And if either Poland or Austria to get through to the knockout stage, I suspect they'll have to do it courtesy of 3rd place. Yeah. Let's move on to Group E, which is Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine. So I think we'll all... Belgium, they had a poor World Cup, didn't they? But they've still got plenty of decent footballers. And
missed all those chances, remember? I think we did the game, didn't we? Was it Lukaku, wasn't it?
Lukaku had about 5, didn't he? It was one of those days. It was one of those dreams you have. As a striker, we talked about this before. One of those dreams where you get a million chances in a game from 2 yards out and it won't go in.
Yeah.
And he kind of lived it. It was like a real thing, wasn't it? It was just. I felt for him that day. I mean, he's a top class centre forward. And
I think he got 14 goals in the qualifying games. Though,
yeah,
so,
he does bang them in.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he scored goals at that level, so they're going to have to rely on him a lot again.
Yeah.
How long we've been saying about the generation, the players with Belgium, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they've just not lived up to that hype, have they?
Yeah, they're just that generation's gone now. It's a new generation, isn't it?
Yes,
it's not the same.
There's still 1 or 2 of those players around, and some of them are obviously very, very experienced, but there's still talent in there, isn't there? Trossard, De Bruyne, obviously, Doku, we've seen, been brilliant for Manchester City this season.
Yeah, they've still got the quality, but I don't think it was the same as Hazard. When you got Hazard in the team alongside Kevin De Bruyne. One thing I would say though, and I was working with Roberto Martinez for CBS, who said it was very difficult to play Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne in the same team because Hazard was trying to slow it down and Kevin De Bruyne was trying to speed it up. So there was never really on the same wavelength in terms of what they wanted to do on the pitch. So which was strange, really. But Yeah, I don't think they have the same quality as a couple of years ago, if I'm being totally honest.
I've got an amazing statistic here that the second highest scorer for Belgium is Eden Hazard with 33, which is not surprising. And then Lukaku's their top scorer. Do you know how many goals?
Go on.
85 international
Amazing,
goals. I mean, I know things have changed in terms of international football, and every country's records are being beaten because, particularly, well, in Europe, I should say, because of the qualifying group stages games now, and you play lots of weak opposition. But that's still an extraordinary record. On to Slovakia. Obviously, one of the outsiders in the tournament. They qualified behind Portugal, and they'll find it difficult, I think. Slovakia.
Yeah, they've got some good players though, and they scored goals. They beat Wales, didn't they? 4-0 just recently.
Yes,
they've got Striena at the back. You know, the defender.
Dubravka in goal as well.
He knows his Newcastle players.
PSG, I know. Yeah, Lobotka in midfield as well. Honestly, he's a player. Lobotka, he's at Napoli. Do you remember that team when they had all the new boys in that team? Lobotka's very good. Kirka as well in midfield's not bad player. He's plays right or left in that position. But I don't think they have the same quality as the others. But they have got some good individual players. I will give them that.
Okay, we think they'll probably struggle a little bit, but you never know in this tournament because most teams will get through to the knockout stages. Romania. You've got bad memories of them, Alan.
Oh, just a bit, yeah. Euro 2000, wasn't it? Yeah, Phil Neville
3-2.
Gave the penalty away when we were leading. It's like, why'd you have to mention that for? Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. It just sprung into my mind. I don't know why. The coach is interesting. He's like Iordanescu. He's been there since 2022. Did you know his dad, Angel, coached the Romanian national team in 3 separate stints? So they've had 4 goes in the family.
Wow.
It's quite something, isn't it? Yeah. And one of their star players is Yanis Hadji, who's he's a Rangers player. I think he went out on loan at Alaves, but he's the son of Georgie Hadji, who was an absolutely brilliant footballer. But another one of the tournament's outsiders.
Yeah, I think so. They're going to have to defend very well. I mean, they only conceded 5 goals in qualification, so that's what they're going to have to rely on again. But yeah, it'll be tough for them.
Do you think this is possibly the weakest group on paper? Yeah, because Ukraine are in there as well. Obviously, so much going on in their country. It must be very difficult for them to focus on these things, but it does seem to inspire them in some way. The manager, Sergei Rebrov, remember? Was it Spurs?
Rebrov,
wasn't he? In West Ham for a while. Remember, yeah.
I used to buy him on
Football Manager.
Yes, Rebrov.
Yeah, and they've got the Lunin in goal, who obviously was kind of third choice at Real Madrid and ended up playing a huge part in their Champions League triumph. Not in the final because obviously he didn't play in the final, but particularly against Man City, I thought he made some great saves.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? I think it was very harsh because I work with Rob Green and Peter Schmeichel when I'm doing the Champions League. And Courtois only played, I think it was the last 4 games of the season. There was sort of chopping and changing in it. And was asking from a goalkeeper's sort of perspective, should he be playing the final? And they were saying it's more than enough. And then he goes in the final and he has worldie. Again, he's a machine, Courtois. But I felt so sorry for Lunin because it'd been so consistent throughout the season. But yeah, good keeper.
Zinchenko, Mikalenko, and Mudryk from the Premier League. So
yeah.
What do you think of Mudryk? He's got.
Yeah, there's something in there. Yeah, I think it's been very difficult for him at Chelsea, hasn't he? But I look at him and I think there's something there, but needs a lot of work.
Yeah, agreed. He's definitely got something. I agree with Al on that. It's just he needs a manager to believe in him, and he needs a run of games. And even if he has 3 or 4 stinkers, that he can just sort of build that confidence, because wingers are like that, aren't they? They need that confidence to really kick on.
This is a tricky group to pick your top 2, really, isn't it? I think.
Belgium and Ukraine for me.
You're going Belgium, Ukraine,
Yeah.
Micah?
Yeah, I'd probably go Belgium and Ukraine as well.
Okay, I'll go something different. I'm going to throw in Romania, Belgium and Romania, with no confidence whatsoever. And we've got one group left, which is Group F, and that includes Portugal, Czech Republic, Georgia, and Turkey. And let's start with the obvious team that will be one of the favourites in the tournament, because they've got a cracking squad. World ranking of 6th, and that's Portugal, of course. Manager now Roberto Martinez, of course, who was Belgium's manager for a few years. They won all 10 qualifiers for the first time in the country's history. Even though Roberto couldn't quite get Belgium's golden generation over the line, can he do it for Portugal, Alan?
Well, they've got, the list of players, even players who are not going to make the starting 11 is ridiculous, aren't they? Where do you start with them? 36 goals in qualifying, as you said. They've got ability all over the pitch. So without doubt, one of the favourites. Yep.
I think Portugal exact same as England. I think they're brilliant individually. It's just whether they can get it together throughout the tournament. But one player I love watching this season, especially in the Champions League, was Vitinha in midfield. We saw him for a little spell at Wolves. It didn't really go to plan. I think he only played 15 to 20 games, but this season for PSG, he has been immense. A lot of the time when people have been talking about Mbappe, Vitinha has been the one who's pulled everything together, whether it's assist, goals, or just dictating the midfield. What a player he is.
Really interested to see how he gets the best out of Ronaldo and what's going to happen with Ronaldo, how he's going to manage him, etc.
Obviously, it was an issue at the World Cup because it became all about Cristiano, didn't it? Whether he was in and then he was left out, and then he was, all that kind of stuff. And
when we were speaking to Roberto, he was saying how great his attitude is and what a great professional and how he wants to carry on and this. But Cristiano doesn't want to be left out. He doesn't want to come off. That's how I'm really interested how he's gonna manage that situation.
I think Portugal potentially could have the best squad.
Yeah.
At the Euros. I was just looking at a couple of the bench the other day. The other a friendly against Finland. On the bench was Patricio, Dallo, Fernandes, Gonzalo Ramos, Bernardo Silva, João Felix, Danilo Pereira, Nunes, Diego Costa, Pedro Neto. What is that? That is not fair, that isn't.
It's 8-1 the bookies have got them now. Bookies odds are always ridiculously ungenerous because they just kind of try and rob you. So, they're always the same. It's hard to get value, but at 8-1, Portugal give you a good run for your money, couldn't they? Possibly. Okay. Turkey. I think Turkey could be one of the dark horses. I think they could go quite well. Yeah. They've got some good players in there, but then I think their league's improving as well. Attracting some good players there. I might be wrong, of course, but they won Group D ahead of Croatia, and Wales are in that group as well. So that says something. I think they could certainly go through from this group.
Yeah. Midfielder, and I'll never get his name right, so forgive me. Chanelaglu in midfield for Inter. He's unbelievable. He's playmaker, but also can play deep as well. He really is a top player. And I got Yilmaz up front as well. He's a good goal scorer. He's at Galatasaray, I think he's at. They've got good players. am I right in thinking the manager is Vincenzo Montella? Yes, my old Fiorentina manager.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if he remembers he managed you.
I wonder if he remembers what you said to him. What was it?
Death to the cats.
Destiny Cazzo when you were introduced. Yeah, brilliant.
But one thing I will say about Montella is he loves attacking football. He just wants to play all the time. So
they'd be good to watch.
they should be very good to watch, yes.
Young forwards, lots of energy as well. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, that's Turkey. 2 teams left. We're going to the to Czech Republic. They were runners-up in Group E behind Albania. Obviously won't be one of the favourites in this tournament, another outsider. But, a couple of players that we know, Patrick Schick and Thomas Souček, of course, who's the most capped Czech player, actually, the West Ham player.
Didn't know that. Schick is the one who scored that unbelievable goal, wasn't it, in the World Cup?
Yeah. Against Scotland, wasn't it?
Against Scotland, yes, against Scotland.
It was the last Euros. In the last Euros.
Was it last Euros? Oh, it was the last. Was it how long ago it was?
It's only 3 years you see the Euros, wasn't it? It was 21.
Jesus.
Yeah, because it was 20. It was delayed.
Yeah.
He's at Leverkusen. He was one of their players. He didn't always play, but he contributed some really important goals for them this season.
Yeah, they're okay. If we're being honest, like we've got to be honest. We can't. What we're going to do is we're going to review this, and we're all going to say, "Oh, they was excellent," and we'll watch them at the Euros, and they're a very good team, but up and down, no special effects, as I would say.
They play Portugal in their first game as well, I think. Yeah. So that's a tough start for them.
Yeah, it's sometimes best to play the strong team in the first game.
Maybe,
because sometimes, I don't know why I can't back that up with any statistics, but it always seems that your first game always tends to be a little bit cautious. No one wants to lose, and sometimes the underdogs can scrape a draw or something, possibly.
Yeah, so it depends what they do against Georgia and Turkey, because I don't see them getting anything out of Portugal.
No, you mentioned Georgia there, world ranking 75. Their qualification was quite remarkable because they finished 4th in Group A behind Spain, Scotland and Norway, and then sneaked into the playoffs and got through against Greece. And they have got a superstar, which it's always difficult to say his name.
Don't say his name. Let Alan have a go at saying his name.
Fucking really? Centre forward for Napoli. Let's hope we don't have to co-commentate on this one of these games.
Just call him Caradonna.
No, that's Kvaradonna they call him, don't they?
Yeah.
He's been brilliant at Napoli for the last couple of seasons. Probably not quite as good last season as he was the season before when he kind of burst onto the scene.
Come on, let's have a go at pronunciation. Kvaratskhelia?
Kvaratskhelia.
Kvaratskhelia.
That sounds pretty good to me. He's probably nowhere near, he's actually, if you hear him say his own name, it's probably nothing like, but he can play. Plays on the left normally, doesn't he?
Oh, he can play all right. He is a baller. There was talk about him, like you said, Gary, not this season, the season when they won the league, so last season. 100 million to all the biggest clubs didn't really materialise, but obviously they lost the manager, didn't they? So it was always going to be tough, and then there was talk about Osimhen leaving, and it sort of derailed their season and their campaign this year. But he can still cause a lot of damage.
Absolutely. Do you think they could sneak through or not? Who's going to be your 2? I think we'll all go Portugal to win the group, and then it's.
Turkey, I'm going to go Turkey. Me second.
I'm going Turkey as well,
as
I said before.
Yeah, I mean, for story, it would be nice, Portugal, Georgia, but I think Portugal, Turkey, to be honest.
That's it then. Our tournament preview is complete. All that's left to do now is sit back and enjoy the football. Can't wait. The 3 of us are all going to be out there in Germany, of course, bringing you coverage on the BBC. and we do hope you'll be joining us for that. Don't forget that the full Restis football team are in Germany with us as well, and we'll be bringing you regular episodes throughout the tournament with all the latest news and gossip, etc. from Berlin. It's going to be a fabulous month. Can't wait for it. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.